Does Burfict deserve any benefit of the doubt here?
No, he doesn't.
Zero?
And it's unfortunate for him that you can pretty much say whatever you want about him and something he's done on the field or even off the field, and I will probably believe it, or at least in the beginning have to question it or look into it. I talked to Ramon right after the game, so this is something I already knew, and I did mention players spitting. I didn't want to point anyone out and say that that was the person who did it. But like I said earlier, the things that went on in this game were beyond football. Down to people even saying, hey, if I see you in the offseason, this is going to happen. Listen, I was all for playing the game hard and being physical and not necessarily being friends. But the one thing that holds this league together to me was the brotherhood. And some of the things we've seen, if you go back to Josh and Odell, you look at this weekend with the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers, it is now no longer that respect. Even when I played against the Baltimore Ravens, which to me was the most physical, most highly contested rivalry the NFL has had in a long time, there was a ton of respect. No matter how many times Hines Ward cracked back on Ed Reed or Ray Lewis, there was respect there. Me hitting Willis McGahee, going against Ray Rice and different guys, Derek Mason, there was always a huge respect for the team we was playing in the sense you knew you had to play hard, you knew you had to be physical, but at the end of the game, you understood it was still just a game. There's a lot of things I could probably let you do. You can probably curse me out. You can be disrespectful. You might even get to punch me. But if you spit on me, that is the lowest of the low. That is telling me you have no respect, not only for me as a football player, but as a person. And I personally, I am proud of David DeCastro, and I give kudos to him because for me, it can't end there. You see, he kind of walked off and screamed and was excited about it. I'm not excited. Like, this has to be handled. And so I commend him for his sportsmanship in that. But for Burfict, the list just keeps growing and growing. And Stephen A. mentioned it earlier. This is a player with a first-round grade going into his last season at Arizona State. Somebody I was excited about watching. And because of some on-the-field actions and off-the-field stuff, you fall all the way out of the draft. So now you've cost yourself money coming into the league. And if you continue to do these things, you're going to find yourself out of the league. Also, you've cost yourself money on the field now because you're suspended for games due to a plethora and a combined number of actions that have happened in the last few years on the field. And it's just sad that this is what we're talking about instead of great players and great plays and a great game in the NFL playoffs.
I completely agree with you, Ryan. And, you know, when we're on this show and we're debating things and we're going back and forth, one of the things that I pride myself in doing is calling it as I see it, but also in a manner where I'm trying to forewarn individuals. You can't keep this up. You got to watch yourself. You don't want to cost yourself money. You don't want to cost yourself a career. As it pertains to Burfict, if this is true, Ryan, you know this. Skip, I believe you know this. This has nothing to do with ethnicity or anything like that. You spit in somebody's face. Let me tell y'all something. I know where you from, Ryan. You know where I'm from. Skip, Oklahoma City. You've been around. Yeah. You know. Fatalities have happened because of that. Fatalities.
That's right.
That is something you don't do. And so the NFL, they got to watch this dude Burfict, man. Because let me tell you something. You can handle yourself, and I understand, but excuse me for being grammatically incorrect, but anybody can get got if you understand what I'm saying. You got to watch yourself. You can't be doing stuff like that because the NFL can control stuff in between the lines. When you leave that football field and when you leave that stadium, anything can happen if somebody deems you to be an individual who crossed a line so flagrantly. And we ain't even get into the company people keep. Now, Ryan Clark, Skip Bayless, and your 40 years of covering NFL football, Ryan playing in the NFL for more than a decade, y'all tell me what I just said that's wrong. Tell me what I just said that's wrong.
None of it.
Nothing.
You got to watch this dude. Somebody got to watch it. Somebody got to watch it. He crossed the line if he did that.
Stephen A., Ryan, look, this is not the first instance of one man on a football field spitting in another man's face. But I do agree with both of you. The ultimate display of disrespect from one man to another is to spit in that man's face. Now, we can go all the way back to Bill Romanowski spitting in the face of another player on Monday Night Football. Lots of instances, but I don't remember. Ryan, help me out here. Did anybody ever spit in your face on the football field?
No, definitely not.
I didn't think so.
Because I'd still be chasing
all
him.
the times we've talked, that's never come up. Okay, Stephen A., yesterday, I won't take the time to do this, but you detailed all of Vontaze Burfict's indiscretions, his rule breaking on the football field. I believe he is dangerously close to the end of his NFL career. Now, obviously, we've had other players with drug issues, domestic violence issues. Those are all another worlds. And to my knowledge, I don't know that Vontaze has any of that going on. But on the football field, he plays on the edge and often completely over the edge. I do, and we both blame Marvin Lewis to a degree for that and the lack of veteran leadership on the Bengals team and in their locker room. But in the end, because Vontaze wants to go up and visit the commissioner, I wish he would get an audience with Goodell, and I wish Goodell would look him in the eye and say, young man, as talented as you are, you're about that close to being out of this league and back on the street without the paycheck that you're earning, because there are times he does not deserve his paycheck. So I hope the gravity of this situation is hitting home to him, because I doubt it is.
Well, one last thing I want to say, because it's very, very important. None of us are up here getting on Vontaze Burfict acting like we don't want him in the league. We want him in the league for years to come. But in order to stay in the league for years to come and get paid what your talents deserve, you have to stop this. I'm not dogging him to cost him money. I'm getting on him so he won't do this again, and he will continue to shine to get his money. I want this brother to be the star that he deserves to be in this league that his talent demands. I ain't trying to get him thrown out. None of us are. We want him in the NFL. If he plays within the rules, he is good for this game. But we got to let him know. And that's what we're doing.
Well, the sad part about it is, if you look at what's transpired after this game, everything that he did during the game before that last hit has been forgotten. If the Cincinnati Bengals win this game, it's because of Vontaze Burfict's play. It's because of his interceptions. It's because of his sack. It's because of the tackles that he made throughout the game, leading this defense. This is why he was able to earn a contract with the Cincinnati Bengals, because of how good of a football player he is. I was never that good of a football player. And so you want him to be able to maximize his potential earning and the potential he has on the field. And that's where my issue with those actions come in.
And that's why Stephen A. always tries to caution him, because he wants to see all these guys win. And we appreciate that. So you like football going to L.A.?
I do like football going to LA.
I need a yes or no.
Yes.
Yes? All right. So we asked Twitter earlier, football in LA, will it work this time? 60% said yes. Well, I guess now 61%. And 40% say no. So we're optimistic. Knicks fans should be optimistic too. But as Stephen A., his Knicks are on the rise. Much of that due to this guy, Porzingis.